Well, the races are typically only about 6 seconds long or so, but still one of the most exhilarating sports in the world comes right here to Arizona at Wild Horse Pass Motorsports Park. The 36th annual NHRA Arizona Nationals, February 21st through the 23rd. Join us on the inside lane to get us all ready. She is a 3-time and defending NHRA Mello Yellow Pro Stock World Champion, a 25-time NHRA Pro Stock winner, and the Pro Stock driver of the decade. Piloting the elite Motorsports Chevy Camaro Pro Stock, driving number 1 from Houston, Texas, it's Erica Enders. Erica, thanks for joining me.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Hey, it's a pleasure to have you on. Of course, the driver of the decade. That's a pretty big title. You picked up your 3rd championship last year on the cover of Drag Illustrated Champions issue. Overcame a tough past few years and a crazy championship win, a wild championship weekend battle against Greg Anderson. But hey, the last time you won a title, it was back-to-back. But what made this one different?
Man, this one was super sweet because of the valleys that we experienced after our back-to-back championships in 2014 and 2015. We switched manufacturers. We went from Chevrolet to Dodge, and then we went from carbureted to electronic fuel injection. So it was a really big rule change within the entire Pro Stock class, and we just, it was kind of a recipe for disaster in 2016. So we've kind of, had to claw our way back to the top. So that's what makes the 2019 championship super sweet.
Second race of the season here in Arizona. The left lane seemed very valuable last race in Pomona. What's the key to speed this weekend as you sit 3rd in points right now?
Well, we started off the season not too shabby. My teammate Jed Coughlin totally dominated the weekend, qualifying on the pole and, of course, winning the race. And on the other side of the ladder, we didn't do terrible. We fought some issues with our car. I battled the flu, and I was just ready to get out of there. But with being able to leave in 3rd place wasn't a awful finish. Of course, we always have our sights set on number 1. But coming into Phoenix, it's kind of a second hometown, if you will, for us, because my dad's from out here and a lot of my family's out here. So we're excited to get the weekend started off on the right foot. I spent all day yesterday in Tucson testing some stuff that we were working on my race car. So I feel pretty confident. I feel optimistic about the weekend, and I'm excited to be back in Phoenix.
Well, glad to have your home away from home, if you will. And of course, I'm sure it's always fun to bring that number 1 with you when you come to town. Talking with Erica Enders here, 3-time NHRA Pro Stock champion. I want to get into a little bit of what you've been doing recently, because this is just, it's incredible to me. You were up in Saudi Arabia recently in November. You were in a panel talking about women having the right to drive. They just got that right like a year and a half ago, and they're still fighting really hard just to get women's rights in that country. How did that experience come about, and how did that impact you?
It was a really awesome and unique opportunity. We raced in Pomona, and our awards banquet was Monday after the race, and then Tuesday morning we left for Saudi Arabia. So it's kind of like a whirlwind after the race. But we headed over there. We stayed for about a week, and it was for the Global Auto Salon, and Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. They just opened the kingdom for tourism. So it was kind of like their first stab at having a really neat event there. And there were people from all over the world there, but a handful of us from the United States. And we personally shipped 21 cars over there. A couple of our race cars were included in that batch. And it was just it was really awesome. Really nice job that they did. But I was asked to speak on a panel of women that work in the automotive industry. A couple of them are TV girls, myself as a race car driver, a couple other fabricators. So it was really neat to be able to talk to that audience about what we do and the journey that we took to get there, but sort of trying to fathom what females go through in Saudi Arabia. It's like, it's so far behind. Like you just mentioned, they only got the right to drive in 2018. So they're a ways behind us. And being over there was awesome. We were treated so kindly. We didn't have to wear anything special or anything like that, but you do have to eat separately from the men. Like if you're with like I went over there with 5 of my guys from my race crew. So if I was with them, we had to go into a separate building to be able to eat together. Like it's very segregated. It's very different. But since we've been home, that rule has changed with the as far as the eating deal goes. So they're making strides in the right direction, and it's just very different. It was a unique experience for sure.
That's incredible, and for you to be part of that, I mean, when is the next step of teaching them when to go 200 miles an hour? How many years until that happens? Because, I mean, you're qualified for that first part, and I think you're more than qualified for the second part, too. Get them racing over there.
I kind of have a fun story. I met a girl over there named Ezra, and she studied in America for her college degree. And while she was over here, that's when Saudi changed the law where women were able to drive. So she acquired her driver's license over here, and she spent like a few weeks just driving across the United States. She went to school in Virginia, and she drove all the way to California and back, and stopped in every state that she went through and visited different racetracks. And this is like her dream, is to drive a race car. So she's actually in training, and I think it's awesome because she puts it, she just was allowed to get her driver's license, and now she's, trying to acquire her drag racing driver's license as well. So she's awesome, and she has her dreams set really high, and I'm excited for her. I think it's really awesome what's going on over there.
Absolutely. That is incredible. I'm telling you, your life is like a movie just from the championship last year, the way that unfolded and what you overcame. That's like a movie. This is like a movie. And for those of you guys who don't know, one of my mom's favorite movies, after I reminded her of this, is Right on Track. You and your sister Courtney were the subject of the Disney Channel original movie. You were played by Beverly Mitchell. Your sister is now basically Captain Marvel, since she was played by Brie Larson. So, I mean, that's kind of, yeah. Courtney has kind of a cool thing there. But your sister still works with you, still trying to be a part of the professional drag racing world. What has it been like, not just going through this incredible journey that you're going through, but essentially this whole time doing it alongside your sister?
Man, that's been the icing on the cake for me. It's a total family ordeal. We grew up watching our dad race, and then both my sister and I, she's 3 years younger than me, we both started racing junior dragsters when we were 8 years old. So it's been a part of our life since we can remember. And my sister is an awesome driver and a tremendous athlete, and just really smart and high energy. And she's a big part of our team now. She's not driving, but she started a media company, so she does all my PR and social media stuff, and for a lot of other teams out there as well, but handles all 6 of our drivers on Elite Motorsports. So she's busy and always just running around like a crazy person, but I am so happy to have her on the road with me. I mean, as you can imagine, me being out there with 20, 22 guys that work for us, it's nice sometimes to have another female around, and the fact that she's my sister just makes it even that much cooler.
All the way through, I mean, basically your guys' entire careers, and so that's just an opportunity that not a lot of people get. Does that get old ever? I know for some siblings that can get tough. For me and my brother, though, I think that we'd probably have a dang good time. But how is it being on the road all the time since you were a little kid with your sister going around nowadays the world together?
Yeah, so, I mean, we're like all siblings, right? We have a great time together, but we also nitpick at each other a little bit. So we found a groove that works for us being on the road, and we used to be roommates like when we go to different hotels in different cities and whatnot, but we found that to keep our relationship on a great path that we stay separately. So that's kind of a key to our success of getting along so well, is that we do have a little time away from each other as well. But we always try, every city we go to, we always try to do something different, something fun, something not race related. We don't usually have a lot of time for tourism type stuff, but we try to do something as a group together away from the racetrack. So that's how we keep it fun, keep it light.
Obviously, this is a work weekend, so I don't want to hold you up too long. But before we go, got to do a segment I do with every single driver. It's called Quick Time. It's probably not as quick as 6 or 7 seconds like I think you're probably used to, but I got some rapid-fire questions looking for some fun answers in return. You ready to set Quick Time, Erica?
Okay, I'll give it a shot.
All right. I don't have a ton of factual stuff, but most of this is just your opinion. Your favorite car to drag race, whether it's on the NHR circuit or, I don't know, street for fun, whatever.
Well, I love my Pro Stock car because I have to use a clutch and I have to shift it manually going down the racetrack. So it's one of the only cars like that on tour. So it's kind of the most fun, most challenging to drive. Away from the track, my dad, he kind of has a hot rod garage where he he fixes up old hot rods, and I guess our favorite one's a '67 Chevelle that we built together. So that's kind of my jam off the racetrack.
That is awesome. All right, this is a tough one. What is the best way to decompress after literally being compressed to a seat?
After a race, when we fly home on Sunday night when the race is over, and I usually take a half a day on Monday. I just kind of sleep in and catch up a little bit, because you go from being pulled in 9 million directions to literally not, I have to go to the shop every day and work, but literally not having anything but work to do. So it's a little bit of a switch you have to flip. So I usually take a couple hours on Monday morning to just kind of chill out and get my bearings back.
And last one for you. There is a connection besides some of your family living here. It is actually one of your family members. Of course, Sandy Charles, our host of AZ Audibles and a great member here at Sports 360 AZ, is your cousin. Do you have any dirt for us to use the next time Sandy is in studio on AZ Audibles? Just kind of, do you have anything that we can use against her?
No, and even if I did, I wouldn't. She's amazing.
Right.
She's a true success story, and just, beautiful inside and out, super smart, and you guys are lucky to have her. So I hope to see some of y'all come out this weekend if you have an opportunity to. The weather looks a little sketchy on Saturday, but Friday and Sunday should be beautiful, and there'll be a lot of great racing out there.
Hey, we are glad to have her here, and I respect that too. I respect that. No, I hope everyone heads on out there. The 36th annual NHRA Arizona Nationals kicking off tomorrow on Friday. Coverage will be on FS1 throughout the weekend, but of course, no better place to watch it than from the Wild Horse Pass Motorsports Park seats. Absolutely no other way to do it. So, of course, Erica, thank you so much for your time. Like I mentioned, it's a work weekend, so you got plenty of things to do. Obviously, one of the greatest women to ever race a car, but pretty sure that you've already established yourself as one of the best, period. So, thank you for coming on the show with us, and a pleasure to have you, and appreciate the time.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me, and hope to see you this weekend.
This was the Inside Lane here on Sports 360 AZ. Be sure to keep it to the website all the time for all your racing content.